Botch is just waking up. Nestled in a valley 6 hours from Kathmandu and 1 hour from the nearest town, the residents of this village in northeastern Nepal are going about their morning routines. This is Krishna. He is 17 and an aspiring English teacher. Before he set off for school, he talked to me about his morning so far.
I wake up at 3:30, then I will read and listening music, morning music, and play guitar.
Are you feeling very tired because you woke up very early?
I'm not tired.
No?
Because I have some aim here. I have many aims, so I'm complete that, so I'm not tired.
Not tired.
Yeah.
Do you normally only sleep 4 hours a night?
Yeah. Sometimes I will sleep only 2 hours.
He might be an incredibly driven individual, but Krishna is still a 17-year-old boy.
This picture also. It is not complete yesterday, yeah? So it is complete in this morning.
And who is that?
He is my girlfriend. She is my girlfriend, Nati.
What's her name?
His name is Aisota. She did not talk to me.
She didn't talk to you?
Yeah,
No?
yeah. We are not talk.
What happened?
Nothing.
Nothing happened.
Yeah. When I go to a hernia, I feel difficult.
But by the time Krishna arrived at school, he seems to have been feeling a little less difficult. First up was an optional advanced English lesson attended by just 3 Year 11 students. But after watching for a few minutes, I started to understand the reasons behind the poor turnout.
You write a topic, right? Write a topic, essay. Essay on Old English literature.
What were those notes going to be used for?
Their notes is about the Old English literature. And in this Old English literature, we learned about the 2 topics, Old English poem and Old English prose. During the 400 apostrophe essay. Generally, in the exam, essay type of questions will come, and sometimes the questions will be asked like write about the Beowulf. And Beowulf is one of the most interesting and most important poem of the Old English literature. Tribes are called A-R-E-R, called C-A-L-L-E-D, called Anglo-Saxons, A-N-G-L-O, Anglo-Saxons.
Do they read Beowulf or any other English poets, or do they just learn about them?
They learned about that Beowulf.
This wasn't the only lesson I watched like this. Across Nepal, many lessons simply consist of the teacher lecturing from the textbook.
The whole education system is based on a kind of lecturing system, and it's very much left to the teachers who are poorly trained, less motivated.
I asked Navraj, a headmaster in a nearby town and the leader of a local NGO, how well he thought the lecture method worked.
Students, they do not participate in the activities, so the teachers are not using the right method, that is student-centered methods, and the students are not getting an opportunity to work.
Will the students try and memorize learn off by heart this essay
Yeah.
to use in the exam?
Mostly they memorize that.
I asked Christine, who's worked in the education sector in Nepal for 33 years, about how she thinks this sort of rote learning affects students' employment chances.
Their mind is kind of dulled by this rote learning, so that they're not equipped. They're still hardly literate after 10 years, even in their own language. They can probably read it, but they can't read it and extract information. So if they were thinking, shall I start a rabbit farm or something, I'll just use that for example, there's plenty of ways that they could get information about how to run a rabbit farm, but because they're semi-literate, they could hardly find it on a computer or read a book.
After the English lesson, Class 11 found themselves on an unexpected break. Their teacher hadn't turned up. After a few minutes, the headmaster arrived to deliver an impromptu lesson on population. I can't say for sure, but I was left with the impression that the presence of my camera might have had something to do with his sudden appearance. When the lesson finished, I asked the headmaster why so many classes are unattended. He told me that, at least in part, this is a problem faced by rural schools in a country that still has poor infrastructure.
सामान्यतया हाम्रो विद्यालय तरिकोटबाट केही दूरीमा रहेको त्यहाँबाट सार्वजनिक यातायातको साधनद्वारा विद्यालय आइपुग्नु पर्ने अवस्था रहेकाले शिक्षकहरूलाई समयमा चाहिँ उपस्थिति गराउने कुरा शिक्षक स्वयंको नियतिवशको समस्या नभइकन उहाँहरूको इन्टेन्सनली यो समस्या नभइकन साधन यातायातको साधनले सिर्जना गरिदिएको समस्या पनि हो.
However, vacant teachers' desks could be seen throughout the day, not just in the morning. In Krishna's lesson, I was sat in the back of the classroom filming, but I saw many unattended lessons that no one stepped in to cover. Even when the teachers did turn up, there was no guarantee they'd stay in their classrooms until the bell. I just had to look across the courtyard to see our English teacher from earlier, supposed to be teaching a grade 2 class, playing on her mobile phone. On another occasion, the teachers taking classes 3 and 5 met up mid-lesson to have a chat. The class 5 teacher can be seen here giving instructions to his class through a window. Catch up over, the class 3 teacher returns to his lesson, stick in hand. Not yet ready to return to his desk, the class 5 teacher signals to his colleague in class 4 to join him.
Some teachers are very volunteer here and they can't manage their time to make a lesson. Another thing is they are not responsible for their duties. They think carelessly. They do their duty with careless. I think so.
But even the science teacher, one of the most popular and conscientious members of staff, sometimes succumb to the school's culture of laxity. Here he is a few days later, chatting outside, when he should have been teaching. I asked Krishna's boss, the headmaster, why he apparently has such problems disciplining his staff.
नेपालको सन्दर्भमा शिक्षा क्षेत्र राजनीतिक हाबी भएको क्षेत्र पनि हो. त्यसैले यहाँ प्रवेश गरिसकेपछि यो क्षेत्रमा प्रवेश गर्ने प्रत्येक शिक्षक साथीहरूले नेपालमा जस्ता समस्याहरू भोग्दै आउनु भएको छ. मैले पनि त्यस्तै प्रकृतिका भोग्दै आउनु.
Poor teacher attendance isn't just a problem in Boch, but in government schools across the country. Navraj, himself a headmaster, explained his difficulties in trying to discipline teachers who have effectively been given a job for life.
I did so many things, but still not having good result. So because we don't have any like rights to kick the teachers, because it's only the district education office who appoints and then kicks them out.
Have you ever known a teacher to be kicked out?
Not it, no. Because as you know that the politics.
The privilege of permanency is secured not through excellence in the classroom, but by taking a written exam. Once appointed, teachers are enmeshed in a politicised and unionised system, with each party looking out for its own. It is a point that teachers recognise themselves.
If a teacher be a permanent, then his future is secure. I will be a teacher for a long time, that is secure.
By 9:30 a.m, and after 3 hours of lessons, Krishna's school day is over. But for children under the age of 16, work is just beginning. Though, before classes can start, it's assembly.
Hands down. Attention.
The assembly is over, but the headmaster has told a few students to stay behind. And what have they done? They came to school wearing the incorrect uniform.
If they remember our beat in school and others punishment, and they can easily respect, and they can give knowledge for others also. If suppose I hit them in their cheek, yeah, so they will remember, oh, one of my teacher beat me when I do not respect him, so he used to remember forever, yeah. But by the speak, we forget. Today I'll say, tomorrow we'll forget.
Depesh is the 21-year-old headmaster of the local English boarding school. There are two kinds of school in Nepal: state-funded government schools, like the one we just saw, and private schools. Private schools are known as English boarding schools, and all their lessons, except Nepali, are delivered in English. On average, a larger proportion of students at these fee-paying schools pass their School Leaving Certificate, the SLC. The schoolyard might be filled with the sounds of children's laughter, but inside the classroom, it's a very different picture. This lesson is only general knowledge, and the students only about 6 years old, but the teaching style encouraged by the school would still be better suited to an interrogation room than a classroom. I asked another teacher what effect this type of teaching has on the students.
Its effect on learn, because many children start crying, they don't want to come to the school because they are having a lot of pressure, pushing and pushing, only pushing, not playing and all also. So students starts not coming, they are bunking the school also even, because they are very afraid, oh, the teachers will beat me.
The students are not just taught to fear their teachers, but each other also. Competition is promoted to the extent where the register is called out by academic rank number rather than by name.
If we make in the rank, then everybody have to respect for the rank one, because every teacher or every man will talk with the first. Yeah, nobody will ask for the poor, nobody will ask for the weak. Yeah, they will ask for the strong or the who are talented, and everyone thinking will be that I have to also be in a rank 1.
But the school themselves are under pressure. Parents who are able to send their children to private school want to be sure they're getting their money's worth.
The parents need fast results here to satisfy them, not the children. Because what they think, I have paid the money, I want the best result. Their motto is only the same.
Too much parental pressure might be a bad thing, but many households here can only put on the table what they can grow themselves. An extra pair of hands is always needed, and a child's chances of succeeding at school are heavily dependent on their parents' support for their studies.
The parents are not so much encouraged to send their children to the schools because they always feel that they are sending one helping hand from away from their house.
This local community, lots of students are from poor family. They do not have sufficient materials, money as well, and even some students can't buy books for study. So they do have hard work. Even they stay here only 5 to 6 hours. The rest of times they do work for their home also. They help their parents. Although our students have lots of capacity, but they are still not getting a platform to show them.
Do you cut grass every day?
Yes.
What time do you cut grass?
Morning
Morning?
and evening.
It's 5 o'clock, and Krishna, from year 11, is home with his family. Krishna lives with his mother, sister-in-law, and his younger brother and sister. While Krishna entertains his sister, the women are preparing dinner.
Excuse me, Jay.
Yeah?
He's my brother, husband, and he's living in Malaysia for a job. Yeah, he went to Malaysia 4 years ago.
Krishna's family is far from the only one I met which is missing a male relation. Beyond working on the family farm, employment opportunities in the area are scarce. When many young people, particularly young men, leave school, they are forced to migrate in search of work. It's something the headmaster has seen happen to many of his pupils.
अवस्था तत्कालै आफूले चाहिँ के भन्छ जस्तोसुकै काम गरेर आर्थिक उपार्जन गर्ने चिन्तन नभएको त्यसैले यो के भन्छ वैदेशिक रोजगारीका लागि बढी जस्तो गइरहेको अहिले पाउँछौँ.
Christine told me that many students now see migration as such an inevitability that they struggle to remain motivated at school.
There's a general feeling now amongst secondary students in villages is we don't care. We'll come to school every day because that means we don't have to go and work in the field, but it doesn't matter whether we learn anything or not because basically we're all going to go to the Gulf and earn money in the Gulf.
Depesh was one of the few who was able to find skilled employment in his area. While he's able to live at home with his wife and child, many of his contemporaries found themselves with no option but to move abroad. I asked him what his schoolmates are doing now.
Has been to other foreign countries like Malaysia, Dubai, Qatar for working. For labor, they used to carry luggage also. Some are in a good position, but some are in the bad position.
This mass migration isn't easy for those left behind. After dinner, I caught up with Krishna, who told me about how his brother's long absence has affected the family. Do you miss him?
Yeah, I miss him every time. So I hope he's coming soon.
What does your mother think about her son being so far away? How does she feel?
She feels very sad. Don't go there. She said, "Oh my son, you don't go there. You live in here." But he did not listen to her. So my mother is very sad.
Did she cry about it?
Crying.
Did you cry when he left?
Yeah, in airport. Me and he also cried in there.
Nepal still faces many challenges, but the scale of the progress made in the last few decades shouldn't be underestimated. In her 33 years in Nepal, Christine says she has seen many parts of the country transformed.
In the short term, I've seen the country become much, much, much richer. I've seen villages get a dirt road, and I've seen them just absolutely transformed. The people are so much richer, and things have changed a lot.
And this wealth is in the process of transforming Botch. Take this science lesson in the school's brand new lab for an example.
This is hydrochloric acid.
पप आवाज आउँछ अनि
What's more, during my stay in Botch, the school opened a new computer lab, courtesy of aid from the Pakistani government.
क्याप्स लक भएको छ क्याप्स लक भनेको यहाँ बलियो यो थिच चाहिँ अब बल्छ अब हुन्छ जे थिच
It's not just new labs and classrooms that have been built, but whole schools too. Sangeeta, a youth activist, told me that many more children now live within reach of a school.
यो त अहिलेको त आकाश पातालको चाहिँ फरक छ भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई, किनकि पहिला हामीले जुन शिक्षा आर्जन गर्नुपर्ने ठाउँमा तपाईको 2 घण्टा 3 घण्टा लाएर चाहिँ त्यो स्कुल जानु पर्थ्यो भनेदेखि अहिले त एउटा घर छेउैको नजिकैमा स्कुल छ.
And Kapila, a journalist, explained that changes in Nepalese society run deeper than bricks and mortar.
हैन धेरै परिवर्तन भएको छ. पहिला भन्दाखेरि अब बाहिरी उसमा समुदायहरुमा मिटिङहरुमा यताउता जाँदाखेरि पनि छुवाछुतको समस्या थियो हैन. त्यसपछि महिला र पुरुष बीचमा पनि अलिकति विभेद हुन्थ्यो. कस्तो भने पुरुषहरु मात्र सहभागी हुने के. अहिले यो पछिल्लो अवस्थामा चाहिँ महिलाहरु पनि त्यसमा सक्रिय रूपमा नभए पनि सहभागिता हुन्छ के. महिला केही % सहभागिता हुन्छ.
Krishna has a far better chance of fulfilling his ambitions than he would have had a decade ago, but it still won't be an easy task. Nepal is famous for its mountains, but trying to get an education in a village like Botch remains one of the toughest climbs of all.